Okay, we're complete. And while people are dialing in, I think we can start with our introductions. So, welcome everyone to another roundtable hosted by Morningstar Ventures. And in today's Twitter Spaces, we are going to talk about the importance of guilds and how they are shaping the future of Web3. And the reason why we chose to dive deeper into this topic is because over the years, we've actually seen that guilds have become increasingly important. And in the crypto space, through supporting projects and aiding in development, guilds have really helped in many ways to benefit the wider crypto community. So, joining us today, we are inviting three experts in the field to talk about this topic, which are Nico Pino, the CEO of Ola GG, Pavel Bains, the executive producer of Web3 game MixMob. I think there's a bit of background noise. Pavel,
That's me. Let me hold on. Let me go outside.
Thank you. And we also have Borislav, the CEO of MSVGG, and also he's the head of special projects at Morningstar Ventures. Welcome, guys. And for everyone that's dialing in for the first time, I'm your host, Naini. I'm usually joined by Peter, but he's actually representing us at a conference at the moment, so it's just me today. And I'm also part of the content team at Morningstar Ventures. Now, before we get started with our round of introductions from our speakers, we do always leave around 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the session for any questions from our audience. But in the meantime, if any questions pop into your head, please do feel free to put them in the comments section below, or just wait till the end of the session and you can request to speak and you can ask your question live to our guests. All right, let's get started. So Borislav, Pavel, Nico, thanks again for making time to come on our roundtable. Why don't we start with a round of introducing yourself and telling us a little bit more about what you do in crypto? Pavel, why don't you go first?
All right. It's not even some GM. Otherwise, it's good night for me in Singapore. So I'm the executive producer for MixMob. People often ask, what does the executive producer do? So I'm not the CEO or game director, but if you're familiar with movies and music and video games, executive producer, you'll see the title come up. So really, charge of like financing, strategy, partnerships, and working with the CEO or game director, which is Simon and the team. So kind of on the outside, but also inside. So when development happens or on production, I can be an outside set of eyes every couple of weeks to come look in. Otherwise, the team sometimes just gets stuck, just focused on their own. MixMob is it's a gaming ecosystem that we built coming out on Solana. The first game, MixMob Racer 1, to put it bluntly, it is take Mario Kart, but add real money gaming, competitive money-based gaming, and DeFi. And that's what MixMob is. I've been in crypto full-time since 2016. And before that, I was actually in the video game industry, working with Nintendo, Disney, Xbox, Activision, name it. And that's me.
Nice, Pavel. Thanks. Yeah. I actually recently watched this show called The Offer on Prime, which was about the executive producer of The Godfather, which taught me a lot about what the executive producer role is. So super cool also to have you on the round table and talk a little bit more from your perspective. Nico, can we get an introduction from you?
Of course, and good morning, everyone here from Miami, the US. So I'm Nico. I'm co-founder and CEO of Ola Guild Games. We are a gaming guild, a gaming community. We are focused in the Hispanic markets across Latin America, Spain, and south of the US. And we are partners of YGG. We basically represent YGG in our part of the world. We do have this geographic focus because we believe that culture is what brings us together. Culture for us starts with language. And basically, we host a gaming community. We run gaming activities for the community to play together, to compete in esports competitions, to find new Web3 opportunities coming out on a global level. We try to bring those to our part of the world. We also help Web3 games and brands expand into our territory.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, Bobsy, do you want to give a quick introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for hosting, Nani. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Borislav, or as friends and my team calls me Bobsy. I'm based out of London, but originally from Bulgaria, and I run MSVGG, which is kind of the retail arm of Morningstar Ventures in the sense that we started off as a gaming guild focused on a single blockchain, but then eventually the structure kind of evolved to not only include gaming, but all different kind of segments within crypto. And the way that we support projects is in a manner where we have a much smaller community, but very high quality that can do product testing, user acquisition, content creation, all the way to investing in some of the projects that we work with. That's kind of one of the hats I'm wearing, and then I'm also part of the Morningstar Ventures team, where I sit on the investment committee. And like Nani pointed out, I'm the head of special projects there. In a past life, I was a management consultant and worked in traditional VC and also in tech. But very glad to be in Web3 now, especially with where we are in the development cycle.
Definitely, I think it's a good time to be in Web3, especially with the greener numbers these days. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for these great introductions. It's always good to have a nice round table with different perspectives. So I'm hoping to bring out that in today's talk. But to kick off the roundtable, I kind of wanted to start a bit from the beginning and maybe take a step back on getting your opinion of what a definition of a Web3 guild actually is and what the role of a guild is within the wider ecosystem. Nico, coming from a more traditional guild side, why don't you kick it off?
Absolutely. I think also the concept of guilds has been evolving over the past couple of years. So happy to share an overview of how we've evolved and how we see the role of guilds these days. Back in the day, and maybe speaking about macro cycles, guilds kicked off. I think YGG was the first, basically financing access to Web3 games, right? Games that you had to hold an NFT in order to be able to play, and game adoption that was pretty much driven by play to earn. So guilds facilitate access to these games at scale and removing the initial friction for a new player. That the new players, so now they could access via a scholarship, like a financing, and they didn't have to pay upfront for the cost of that NFT. With that model, there was a revenue sharing structure, so it was a win-win for both parties. The guild benefit from having multiple scholarship playing games, and players they benefit from playing for free and earning their fair share of their outcome. Now, naturally, as the bear market kicked in, the guilds evolved into different models. Let's say, for us, and I think that at a core, guilds are communities, right? Guilds represent a gaming community that they play together, they support each other. Given that this is Web3 gaming, there's a lot of like self-education happening within the community on how to find new games, how to connect with new games, how to access a wallet in an alternative blockchain, how to find the real meta within the game. Then playing, we also believe that games are, for definition, they should be social, like a social experience. So we believe guilds are the place for you to find colleagues, maybe friends, play for fun, enjoy the chat, right? So in a nutshell, that's our spirit. We, as a guild, we represent a community. We want to be driven by the community representing and deciding what's a priority for Ola when it comes to new products and features and opportunities. Now, as a guild, also some of these opportunities that I've been mentioning, they has to do with our work with Web3 games, right? For the most part, we help these games go to market. This means that we help them connect with their initial user base, but we also help them earlier on. Basically, through guilds, you can find a support structure where you can get early feedback on your like pre-launch versions of the games. So we usually engage with games very early on. We go through different testing cycles where the community can not only access the game very early on, but help the developers find new bugs or some feedback from the user experience. Then we also help in our case very specifically because we have a concentration in the Hispanic markets. We help them translate and localize content, right? So when it comes to promoting the game, running guides, explaining how to play it, how to find it, we produce all this content in Spanish, right? And when I say we, it's basically the community, the Ola community. So our role as guild managers, if you like, a lot has to do with connecting the opportunities that Web3 games bring and connecting those opportunities to the gaming community. We are an open project, always looking to incorporate new guild participants, new guild members that not only they want to come to read and to see what's going on, but they want to take action. They want to play. They want to participate in tournaments. They want to take on quests. They want to test new games. They want to be open to support the new participants. So that's pretty much the spirit that we promote. It's one where we are inviting you to participate and to take action and then to be rewarded by your actions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to get this side of the definition, especially coming also from a more gaming angle. Bobsy, I'm curious to hear, do you agree? Do you think you have a different type of definition? And then Pavel, yeah, chime in also on your perspective.
No, I absolutely agree with Nico. I think it's actually quite nice that he did a little summary of the evolution of guilds, because it's important to get the concept and to see how the evolution has played out. I guess in order to summarize and then kind of give a little bit of an MSV GG spin and how we differ from a traditional guild is, in a sense, a guild supports in four key areas, right? So community, like Nico mentioned, and those could be digital hubs like Discord or other platforms. It could be real life events like YGG hosts their Web3 gaming summit. It could be educational hubs, or it could be initiatives like we run with MSVGG. We have product testing cycles. Like I said, we organize tournaments, we produce content. So that's kind of one side of the value add that we provide. Then there is also the infrastructure side. So some guilds have kind of turned into well, they haven't turned into, they have always been tech companies, but they have focused on actual product development. And a lot of the guilds that have evolved and that we have invested in, including Ola GG, have their own mission platforms or quest platforms where they serve as a user acquisition mechanism, but they're also something that the community can interact with, find out about new games, new titles, news, and so on. So that can evolve from Quest products all the way to entire blockchains, like Merit Circle is developing with Beam and the digital marketplace that they're hosting. Then the third segment is kind of the economic support. And under that umbrella, I put investments because a lot of guilds do invest in some of the games that they work with or partner up with. And also NFT lending and borrowing, which translates into those scholarships. And then lastly, distribution. So distribution can cover everything from finding new players, targeting specific markets, all the way to airdrops, and then kind of lowering the barriers of gamers joining those games. And the thing that MSVGG kind of differs in is we host a much smaller community. Like I mentioned initially, we are only 150 people from a pool of 16,000. And in the way that we do things is we actually get a lot more hands-on with the projects in terms of the product development. So we start quite early on, even if there isn't a game to be played or a protocol to be used entirely, and then we check everything from the product mechanics, tokenomics, the actual API integrations, like we did recently with a partner of ours called BitsCrunch. So we try to kind of support them in the actual development of the product, and then as the project evolves, we tend to touch into the other segments like distribution and user acquisition.
Great. So yeah, four pillars: community, infrastructure, economic support slash investments and distribution. So I think that's a great summary also. Pavel, you are on the other side of the relationship. What is your definition, and how do you think guilds are benefiting the wider crypto ecosystem?
I think it'd be hard for me to define. I think the other two did such a good job with the history and goes into it. I think I would just rather I mean, all I can tell is like how we work with them and their importance. And I think the importance is really high because it's really it comes down to distribution, right? Having people who focus on certain regional markets could be like you're saying, Latin America is going to be big for us. We see that it's a mobile game. All our stats showing it's from there. So instead of going in there and trying to figure out how to market and get them, it's better to actually work with a guild who can really help you out and do that. We work, for example, we do a lot with Ancient Eight, and they're mainly out of Vietnam, and you're tapping into there, and they have creative ways of coming up with marketing ideas. And for us as a game, like we've been developing for close to 2 years. Game is pretty much done. We're just getting ready for the token launch for it. But throughout the period, the guilds helped us play the game, organize game nights, test out a lot of marketing ideas, test out gameplay and balancing. And it's what everybody suggested there. It's they're really vital. I know their models have changed and will continue to evolve from what was mentioned, like the original stuff. But for us, I would say we are pretty dependent on them in terms of, like I said, user acquisition, game testing, and regional marketing support.
Great. And so those probably are also some of the criteria that you have when you choose to work with a specific guild, correct?
Yeah, you want to look at what is this, because everything you do takes up energy, right, and resources. So you want to go, okay, all these guilds come out, they say it. Are they targeting the same area? Are they different? What's their approach? And that's how we really like to focus. Like we wanted to, we knew India is growing as a market. People like playing games there. So the easiest way was to actually work with a guild in July, August, and start to understand that type of user base and what makes them tick. And that's what you've got to do. I guess if you are a guild, being a general purpose guild probably isn't helpful. It's probably just better to focus on core demographics, user profiles, or even maybe type of genres of games.
Great. Thanks, guys. And I think it's great also to have a little bit of an overview of how guilds have evolved over the years. I think that many people, they associate crypto guilds to maybe the rise of games like Axie Infinity back 3 years ago, and like Nico you were saying, and also Pavel and Bobsy, games and the game guild relationship has changed a lot, and so has the crypto guild relationship. We touched a little bit upon this already in your introductions and also your definitions, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into initiatives, and maybe to Nico. I'm quite curious to hear, you were saying you were doing a lot around education, but you also obviously have your scholarship programs and you're targeting a core demographic within the Hispanic community. How do you think that your initiatives actually have helped crypto adoption in the past couple of years?
That's a great one, Gianni. So what our go-to-market strategy refers to tapping into the gaming industry, the broader gaming industry, and so moving slightly, not moving slightly away, but definitely speaking to gamers, traditional gamers. So if you go to our website, you'll see that one of the product features that worked best this year has been the tournament platform. We started doing tournaments quite shyly at the beginning of the year, hosting one tournament per month. And that scaled quite fast given the reception from the community. Currently, we are hosting over 2 tournaments per day, and we scaled smoothly throughout the year. Now, when you see the type of titles that we play tournaments, some of those games are traditional games like League of Legends, Call of Duty, etc. And that's because we do like to speak to traditional gamers. Now, then Then is when the education and the onboarding takes place within the Ola offering. So there are a few Web3 features that we've incorporated throughout your at Ola GG. First is that every transaction that takes place within Ola, either a pay-in or a payout, that's an on-chain transaction, right? So we found ourselves many times guiding new members on how to set up their first wallets because they need to receive either an NFT, a soulbound token, or a payment, stable coins, because of their participation within the programs. So that gives me a lot of motivation, given that the adoption of Web3 within the gaming community through the Ola service is very organic. It's coming out of a real demand and real utility, right? Um, our latest project, it's quite what keeps me very optimistic about the role of guilds, and it has to do with building the player identity, right? As you said, we have multiple programs within Ola. We have some programs for players that has to do with being competitive or being open to test new games or to go through gaming quests. We also have education programs that has to do with learning the ins and out of Web3. So Crypto 101, we also have a master's in Web3 available for the community. We also have programs for content creators that they can produce content not only for Ola, but for our gaming partners. So depending on your on what type of community member you might be, maybe you're more interested in education, maybe you're more interested in esports, competitive gaming, or maybe you are interested in becoming a KOL and to create content. Ola is offering you different channels for you to connect with the community. What we're doing next is recognizing your participation, your merit, your achievements in the different programs, and giving you an on-chain recognition. So this is a soulbound token that fits your profile, adds to your profile, and these are the credentials that next we will be using to channel the best opportunities that we can find. So when speaking about content creators, for example, many times we get hired by Web3 games that want to connect with local micro-influencers or KOLs, and we are simply connecting these content creators with the opportunities. We will be using these on-chain tools, the Soulbound tokens, to identify who is who and who deserves access to the next opportunity that really fits what they are looking for.
Great. And also, you know, given that guilds are so community driven, it's great to see that you're catering to all these diverse skills and expertise that your guild members are bringing, since that's, you know, also a really great way to expand a network or even you know, help bring projects to the new level. I think maybe Bobsy, it would be interesting if you chimed in here, because obviously MSVGG, the slogan is that you're more than just, you know, you're more than just a traditional guild, and that you're working with various projects across multiple industries, not just in the gaming industry, and also across many chains. And what do you think, for example, you guys have been doing that has been the most beneficial for the crypto space, and what type of initiatives have you been running that you think have helped your partner projects, also building on what Nico was saying?
Yeah, it's a great question, Nani. So I guess the first thing is that, like I said, we started off as a gaming guild, but now the way that we brand ourselves is more of a private investment club that supports early stage projects. And the reason why we do that is because we realized, because our structure is smaller and a lot more niche, actually the users that we have and the community members are quite sophisticated, highly educated, mainly focused geographically in Western and Central Europe, and people that know crypto kind of well for several years. We realized that, you know, gaming is not necessarily the only interest that these people have, right? Some people are power users in DeFi. Other people know infrastructure really well. We have programmers, we have designers, So in order to cater to that, the way that we select projects and partnerships is funneled through who we invest in. So, for example, like I mentioned recently, we partnered up with BitsCrunch, which is an analytics platform. And the work that we did with them was very different than what we're doing, for example, with MixMob and Pavel's team, right? Like with Pavel's team, we're running tournaments, we're going to be helping with user acquisitions. But when it's a software like BitsCrunch, you actually require people who are more technical, who can kind of look into the way that the product is built, into the integration with the different blockchains, into the presentation of the data and the different dashboards that they use. So providing structured feedback and bug reporting is extremely valuable for those projects. And when I say bug reporting, I mean having people put down the device that they're using, the operating system, the time zone they're in, like the environment that they're testing the product in, like all of these being collated in a structured manner and being presented to the project in a way where they can interact with that and ask questions, ask for clarifications, dig deeper into things that are being found out, is extremely beneficial for early stage projects because, like Pavel said, everything is time and effort and money, right? So the more we can be helpful in those aspects, the more projects appreciate it.
Pavel, I think this is everyone's agreeing. Good ending there, Bobsy. And so obviously you already alluded that you are working together with MixMob, so with Pavel's team, and there was recently also an announcement of an AMA that went live. So I hope that went well. And obviously, Pavel, so you are working with guilds, and you've already kind of told us a little bit about the criteria, and also listening to what the guys were just saying. What do you think needs to happen from guilds actually in the future to make sure that they can continue a contribution to games like yours and make them even more valuable?
Oh, wow. That's, I mean, I honestly, this is the area where I don't really know, right? It's so new and blazing. It's hard for me to tell anybody what to do in their area there. I do know that for us, what we would like to do is do more interesting things with the guilds and where they become part of the game. So, for example, in MixMob, it's all about communities and it's a mob, right? You're remixing culture. And we want to bring the guilds that we work with, that we have good partners, like right into our world. So, for example, with any of these communities there, the whole goal is, hey, we start doing stuff together, and what's core
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
in our MixMob is our NFTs is, basically one is your profile. We call it the mask, your MixMob mask. We'd like to do, with the good partners that, hey, we're doing that and we're making it under your community. We're remixing our mask with your community brand on there. So that way, when their players come and play, everybody recognizes that. The other part that we're releasing now in the next couple of weeks is the Mix Bots. Those are our Mario Kart style characters. Each is unique and they have different racing attributes and they go in our game and that's what you use. But with the guilds, we want to make them custom, like not all unique. I mean, they all have just one look we would have for a guild. So that way, when we wanted that they're crews, right? So they come in and race, and like say that MSVGG ones, they're branded a certain way. They have the crew. They're racing. People understand like, oh, I'm racing that crew. So it's that guild. And then if all that works well, it's like, okay, now we want to make a racing arena. So we make a game mode which would just be focused on that guild. And maybe that's where they train. Maybe that's where they get more revenue from. Maybe they invite other ones in. So, like I said, it's hard for me to tell what they should be doing. I just want to know, I just know what we would like to do, and which is really bring them, the ones that we work with, fully immersed into our game and our world.
Any reactions, Nico?
Yeah.
What do you
If I
think?
may add, no, Pavel, that I loved it. I loved it, and that's why I mentioned previously about our identity program and an on-chain identity program has to do with enabling those features that will allow our community to connect with Web3 games via an on-chain manner, right? I mean, initially we were all using referral codes and special links. And for wallets, you should be able to identify who's coming from where who represents which team or which guild, and eventually build a relationship with those groups in your own platform, in your own game. And that could be with special skin design, special identification, special recognitions, benefits, or whatsoever, or special activities. But I think the future of on-chain dynamics and Web3 gaming has to do with this player identity and how they are able to navigate from one game through another as a community, as a gaming guild.
Danny, I'll just chime in here because
Go
there was
ahead.
an initiative that we were working on with one of our portfolio companies called Ethium, called the Gamer Passport. And just knowing how hard it is to set that up and having everything on chain, props to Nico and his team for kind of kicking this off and making it the operating model that they employ. And then the other point that I wanted to make is just around education. Considering the partners that we have and the community that is quite engaged in the last couple of months, we always kick off by having the projects come on board, having the founders meet the community and speak to them for an hour or so about the background of the project, about the story, where they come from, what they've done, what the mechanics are. And that happened with MixMob yesterday, actually. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Simon, Pavel's co-founder, was there. He's an ex poker player and used to work for PokerStars. So Pavel would be in a better position to explain, but MixMob is both a racing game. It has a pretty cool lore of humanity's culture being erased, and those masks represent a part of that. Then there is the poker dynamics of basically you being able to participate in races, but then also having spectators who are able to participate in the game, and finding those intricacies about the games and those details always kind of motivate people to be a little more involved, to be a little more curious of what the project is about, where they're going, what the roadmap is. So yeah, I think that's also quite a big part in terms of education and creating that sense of community between the projects and the members.
Thanks for chiming in. Yeah, congratulations on that AMA and also the launch of the project. I think all these like hands-on touch points is also what really gets the community motivated. And we were talking a lot about community, but when my colleague Peter and we were kind of talking about this roundtable, we were thinking, is a guild truly community driven? So is it really similar to a DAO structure, or could it also be more leadership driven? Anyone who wants to chime in and answer this question.
In my opinion, both models make sense. There's room for different types of guild models. Our particular case, we are very much driven by a vision of a DAO structure where the community takes action at the governance level with the key initiatives and with the direction the guild takes for the long run. Now, we've been in the Web3 space for many years now, and we are pretty much aware on the challenges of going decentralized very early on. So we are pretty mindful about that. We do see the benefits of clear vertical leadership in the early days. So that's where we are now, building product and guiding our vision towards a North Star that we are determining, but building also these tools and features and slowly incorporating how the community can take a bigger role over time, right? Our Web3 identity project is core also because of governance. We want to have a governance structure that is not only driven by financing power, right? On the one model with the traditional governance tokens, whoever has more money, whoever has the more tokens, whoever has more voting power. We believe guilds they has to do with merit and with involvement, with participation, with the right to lead. So that's where we are by mapping out different achievements and merits. We're identifying those community members that will become community leaders very soon. So the next step after that is to enable the governance features.
Great. Borislav, anything to add there from your end in terms of the structure?
No, I completely agree with Nico. In our case, to be completely frank, I believe we're so early into the development of what we're building that there is also a high attrition rate of the people that kind of stick around and prove to be valuable and interested. And what I mean by this is, if you start out with a structure of X people, there is about 20 to 30% that stick around, like after a year, like at least this is the observation that we have with almost MSVGG. And our belief is that we should definitely empower those people in the longer term to have a decentralized way of voting and, be part of the governance. But for now, the way that we do it is, for one, we kind of run an internal leaderboard where we track participation, effort, and just the way that people are interacting with us. But on the other hand, we are actually selecting quite a few people from the community to be a part of the core team at MSVGG. So we have two initiative leads who are coming from the community. Obviously, our moderators are coming from the community, but moderators they're not they're not there just to conduct a conversation. They're helping with the financials, they're helping with the selection of projects, they're helping with the setup of what we're doing. So in a sense, we're kind of still in the selection phase of who are the people who should be given a vote in the longer term to dictate how we develop and the role we take.
Thanks, guys, for your input. But there was I wanted to kind of also go into the challenges, right? So obviously, there's there's always challenges when working with big communities or even working together. But Pavel, from your end, like what were some of the challenges that you were looking to seek from a gaming point of view? And has there been any challenges even working with guilds? I mean, not to put anyone on the spot here, but interesting to hear that.
Challenges working with the guilds. I think, I mean, not now, maybe. I mean, when our first version came out in April 2022, and we had them playing, and I think during the bear, maybe it took us a while to really understand where the model was going. And I guess the challenge was just the same challenges they had, and just being patient and going along with them, and quickly trying to evaluate, not just like, trying to compare like what value you're getting. Like, we know what we know the results we would get from certain guilds. That's why we work with them. Then when another one comes and let's say you have to pay or spend a budget, you start to evaluate, well, you guys are charging too much compared to these guys because these are the results we got from them. So we expect the same from you for that type of price. So I think that was probably it, because at the beginning you don't have these things, right? And as we're working with guilds and funds more and more, you start to test them and you see kind of results, what works for us and what information. And so it allowed us to just better assess newer guilds that we want to work with. So it was really I guess the cool thing about this stuff is this is all brand new and you're just trying to create benchmarks and KPIs just to get better at it.
Yeah, definitely. We do have actually a question from the audience, and there are a couple. Before I go into, asking you guys about any upcoming alphas or upcoming initiatives that you want to share, I do want to give our audience a opportunity to talk. So I see there's someone called Persistent who wants to ask a question. So I am connecting you, and you should be able to ask your question in a bit. And in the meantime, I'm just going to take a look at our chat if anyone has asked any questions there. Please feel free to drop any questions in the chat, by the way, for the people that are listening live. And I can always read them out loud. Okay, Persistent, if you were to go off your mute, if you go off mute now, you can ask your question.
All right, GM, Morningstar. Like, okay, my question is my question is actually for Pavel. For communities that are not really Web3, like based on gaming for Web3, is there? You said that we could like partner in communities, like create communities together. So I want to know, is there any plans to make this partnership or collaborations with other projects that are not gaming inclined in Web3?
So I didn't understand the last part. Was it working with projects, same thing that are gaming projects or non-gaming projects in Web3?
No, non-gaming projects in Web3.
Yeah, for sure. For us, we definitely want to do it. We're working with NFT communities because a lot of them are, they've got a community, they've got some money, but they don't know what to do with it. It's just aside from being, a profile picture. So one of the things we're looking at is, hey, if your community is good, strong, and even though you're gaming, we can do, you've got a budget, work with us, and we launch an arena for that community. So let's just say it's like, now I'm just making up things, and we are talking to all of them. But let's say a DGen Ape or Mad Lads, right? Hey, let's launch an arena for Mad Lads. Mad Lads community holders come in there. We can identify it, and then maybe the revenues that come into the arena, the Mad Lads arena, that goes to you. A lot of it goes to you. So it's another way for revenue generation. So that's one way. We're also working with DeFi projects. We want to do that because in MixMob, the game, we look at it. We have three different players. You have the gamer, the gambler, and then the DeFi person or the DGen. And each way you can integrate with our ecosystem, how we've made this four-step game loop, and different groups can come in and actually partake in that entire economy. Because our goal is actually to build a real fully economy in our mixed mob world. So it naturally lends itself to not just gamers, but like I said, NFT communities and DeFi projects.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. So I want to ask, I'm actually the community manager for ZK Automate. So, and we are actually a community that, or a project that actually helps traders to automate their strategy. So if we are to collaborate together, like, how do you see our collaboration looking like?
Oh, I would have to know more about the project and what it does and go right into it. I can't answer it on the spot, just saying how would the project, because each one, depending on their brand, their look, we got to see if it fits with the guiding principles and brand guidelines of MixMob itself. We don't want to have something that seems way off that wouldn't fit in our world be part of it.
All right, thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Persistent. Thanks for your question. We appreciate it. And thanks, Pavel, for answering. And in the meantime, we also got a question in the comments section. So, and honestly, every single time we have something about AI. But the question is, how might the boom of AI tools affect guilds and community building in the future? And Pavel, I will change that question for you a little bit about how AI tools are going to affect MixMob. But who wants to go first into this question?
I can take it, or I can share
Go ahead.
how we've been using AI. We've been building tools with AI, tools that we needed in the first place for us to be more efficient. Our platform started out as a content platform, introducing a gaming catalog, the most robust Web3 gaming catalog in Spanish that is out there. So we need a lot of content, not only about a game description, but also around the guides, the articles. There's so much content out there happening in English, let's say. So we had to translate stuff at scale and build our own stuff. So we started building tools powered by AI, and these are tools that we use internally early on. And more recently, we started opening this tool for the community to also use them. So currently, the community is writing content and creating content using AI. So they write more efficiently with less typos and very lean using our self-made AI tools. If you go to our website, all the content that you'll find, it has been reviewed by an AI system. We are very excited about this project, and we're thinking about how to best scale this tool, not only within the community, but in a broader world or a broader audience. There are some companies already using this tool as a service, as a SaaS. So that's a feature that we started playing early on. This was back in February. We saw the potential. We started opening to the community. The community tested, some were writing for blogs, etc., and they started using our tool to write better and more efficiently. And currently here we are. So we have a backend tool that was self-made, that is it runs on AI, that we are using to run most of the content in our website. And currently we were seeing some of our partners that are also leveraging this tool for their own sites.
Very cool. I'll check it out. I love a content writing AI tool, but nice that you guys are developing that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll share
from
you. Let me
Pavel,
share, Nanjai. Sorry to interrupt, but I'll share you a special
no worries.
access, because this is still on beta, but we are slowly releasing access to testers.
Very
So
cool.
very interesting in your feedback as well.
Oh, so you're breaking up a little bit.
Sorry. No, I'll drop a link I'll DM you a link with the special access, and then I'm curious about your feedback as a user.
Yeah, great. I would love to check it out. Bobsy, do you have anything to add? Oh, no. And okay, well, Pavel, maybe for you from an AI perspective, what tools do you think will be used in the future
Sorry,
of
Nani.
job?
I think it cut off. I was just going to add. There is a really cool protocol that I encourage people to check out. It's called AIT. It's incubated by PAL AI, and in essence, it's basically a data labeling platform whose first product is an AI bot that communities like Ola GG or MSVGG can use, which is supplementing the existing community managers. And the way that it works is the data is being extracted from from different blockchains as it's public. The MLs are being trained on it, and then whatever the ML can't read, you have users contribute to kind of try to decipher it and then teach the models to get better. And then in essence, those bots become not community managers 2.0, but almost like an additional support for the community to ask questions, check prices of tokens, execute commands later on, and so on. So that's quite a cool use case that we see a lot of development in the current cycle.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool. It's like an extension of the community to make them better and smarter. Pavel, go ahead.
AI, we're excited about it. I think what it does is for us, it's going to reduce production time in a couple of areas. One is concept art, storyboarding. So when you have, a new idea, new game level, or things like that, with the tools like I can't remember what's the one that does all the art one through the Discord. But I mean, you've got all these tools where you can just, hey, here's our artwork, here it is, concept up some concept art for what a game in this level would look like. So just think about how much time that saves on resources from our own team, and our art director can just focus on high level stuff, putting it all together, testing concepts, moving fast. So that's one, just on the art direction side. On the game direction, there's stuff that we've been playing with, and we plan to invest heavily internally in it in 2024. Is the ability to actually create levels and maps, racing arenas. So our game is all based on racing arenas, and each arena has a different type of track. So as people get tired, you want, just like an action game, you want more maps, more levels. They want more tracks. Just like in Mario Kart, they keep downloadable packs. So we're playing with some tools that will allow us to actually spit out tracks faster, and so you can get more content out there for people to keep exploring it. So for us, we see it more on content production, reducing that timeline.
Great. I think, there's definitely a lot that's going to be happening with AI. And thanks again for the question from our audience. We also got another question, which is actually specifically for you, Bob C, from Sick Dad. He says, from a VC point of view, can you tell us what is the next narrative that you are looking for in the next bull run? So we're actually moving away a little bit from the guilds, but could maybe from you can put your Morningstar Ventures hat on now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, firstly, big shout out to Sigdad. He's actually a member of MSVGG, and well, one of the first ones actually. He's part of our Genesis members. So that's a great question. Um, Well, without sounding too cliche, infrastructure is something that we want more exposure into as a fund. So we've been looking at privacy, ZK rollups, interoperability of blockchains. So that's kind of one topic that we're exploring, and there is some great opportunities and companies that we met in the last couple of months. And then I guess the other topic, which is also quite interesting, is DeFi, and mainly related to real world assets yields. So there is interesting protocols now that are doing lending and borrowing that are connected to traditional accounting and law firms. Having a very integrated structure where they can analyze the credit risk of clients, where they can see the potential cash flows, and then on the back of this kind of release loans automatically. So that's a topic that we're exploring at the moment.
Great. Thanks, Dick Dad, for your question and also for joining the spaces and for all your work with MSVGG and Bopsy for answering. I hope it answered your question. And we're almost out of time, actually. We've only got a couple of minutes left. So if you have any last questions, please put them in the chat or request to speak. But so far, guys, it's been a really fantastic Twitter Spaces. We've really gone through multiple topics from a gaming perspective, from a traditional guilds perspective, from this perspective of MSVGG as well, and also covered everything from AI to VC, future bull market and strategies, and obviously, how that all ties in. I do think I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask you for any alphas and what's up next for your project. So yeah, could you tell our listeners a little bit more about what we can expect and where we can look out for your next initiatives? Pavel, maybe you can go first.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good timing. Our main thing is we've been developing for so long. Game is in a great state, and we're now towards. It actually needs the token now. The people want to complete the loop, everything that we've built, and do that. So, I believe today, Thursday Eastern. So the white paper will be launching officially with a video to introduce it. And then from there, this kicks off our whole campaign for the next 4 weeks called Flip Web 2. And all that is about basically flipping off Web 2 because, they're arrogant and they think Web 3 games aren't it. And also the flipping of just like I saw from the console days that once mobile game came in, it flipped console because it created a new category, new players, and a new segment that grew bigger. We believe Web3 will also flip Web2 and creating a new category and a new different type of revenue stream. So the alpha really is start watching our Discord, join our Twitter now. If you start playing the game, you'll start accumulating our in-game token called SUDS, and all that is gearing towards over the next month and a half towards our token launch. And then, so if you're in early, you'll accumulate the most points, you'll generate the most points to get the biggest airdrop, and you'll also hear everything first to get the mix bots, which will lead to the token sale and getting allocation. And our whole goal is to just promote the people who've been there the longest, who follow us along, and get in early before all the stuff officially gets announced.
Nice. Great alpha. Thank you. Nico, what about you? What's next?
Yeah, actually quite similarly, and Boris mentioned something on the same line, but we did actually introduce our community ranking and leaderboard just a few weeks ago. So this is the new feature we have on platform, and pretty much it's being used to track merit, achievements, engagement from the community participants across the different programs, and the rewards comes next, right? So the more points you accrued and on the ranking level, the better earnings you will earn within the Ola programs. Also, what's new for us is that we're touching ground in real life in a few cities for the first time. So I'm super excited about this. We were in Venezuela, in Caracas, first as a community event just last week. next weekend, we will be in Madrid, Spain, at Gamergy Spain, hosting tournaments throughout this large event called Gamergy throughout the weekend. And early 2024, we will be hosting our first steps in my hometown, Miami, Florida. So super excited about really connecting in real life with our community members and being part of a in-person conversation.
Super cool. So whoever's in Madrid, look out for Nico.
Yes.
Great city, by the way. Have a great time, and thanks for the next steps. Bobsy, how about for MSVGG?
Well, I guess for MSVGG, what I would encourage people is to follow our socials and see when the next cycle of recruitment is. We have quite a lengthy application for, I'm not going to lie. But like I said, the people that participate are able to actually get allocations in the projects that we invest as Morningstar Ventures. There are all sorts of early stage testing, closed betas, and so on that they would get access to. So if anybody is interested to get involved, I would encourage that. And then in terms of alphas, I'll actually give you 390. There is Fusionists, which is one of the top games that is also coming out with a big announcement today that they will be listing on OKX. So I definitely encourage you to check that. Like I mentioned, BitsCrunch is an analytics platform which is currently running a campaign on CoinList. So people should definitely check that out and participate as their TGE is coming up soon. And then lastly, there is a game called Apeiron, which is run by a team headed by Frank, based out of Hong Kong. Also an amazing game that is running their closed beta now. So getting involved in their Discord and in the current initiatives that they're running is definitely a good idea.
Yeah, there's no stopping, guys. I mean, it looks like you guys have a lot going on. So looking forward to seeing all of these initiatives come to life. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we've already talked for an hour. It felt like no time has passed. It's been really great to speak to all of you, get all of your perspectives. To everyone that listened, thank you so much. The session was recorded, so if you had to drop off or you couldn't make it, listen to the recording. It will be also on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, so you can listen to it there. We have these roundtables around every 2 weeks. We'll probably start back up again in around the new year. And then also my colleague Sabi, he hosts one-on-one interviews every 2 weeks as well with founders of our portfolio companies. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thanks again for joining. It's been really a pleasure, and we'll see you at the next roundtable.